Good evening and welcome to the English News Program. NTV wants to help you understand the major news events of the past week by providing them in English. My name is Danny Wolf. Many kindergarten and secondary school teachers have been on strike since December 12th and are still in negotiations. Teacher representatives have been meeting with the government authorities but cannot reach an agreement. Officials said 11,570 teachers from 93 secondary schools and 74 kindergartens have joined the strike that began on the 12th of December. They also said 36 unions from schools, kindergartens, and training centers have submitted their signatures to support the strike. In September, the government agreed to increase teacher salaries by 80,000 tugriks beginning on the 1st of March and by 23% on May 1st, 2012. But the teachers say they want raises starting on the 1st of January. The civil movement, Promise Claiming People's Union, announced its support for the teachers' strike on Wednesday. The movement's coordinator and members told reporters that the teachers' salaries are so low that they can't afford the basic necessities for themselves and their families, including food and clothing. Prime Minister S. Batbold received representatives from the Trade Union of Education, Culture, and Science on Wednesday. The Minister Otkun Bayer and Social Welfare and Labor Minister Gandhi also attended the meeting. The teacher representatives said the teachers have 5 demands. They are 2 salary increases, increased funding per student, addressing social issues, and an amendment to the law on education. The Prime Minister said the government places special importance on education and the state is investing heavily in it as its main engine for social development. He said 33% of the budget is being spent in the education sector. The Premier explained that the 2 salary increases are not possible because it would increase inflation. He also noted that the Employers United Association has criticized raises for state workers because 70% of the labor market is in the private sector. Welfare and Labor Minister Gandhi said the working group will start talks immediately and that the strike should be stopped. Meanwhile, healthcare workers, including doctors, plan to hold a demonstration on Friday to demand salary increases. Teachers and healthcare workers plan to hold a joint demonstration at Sukhbadar Square at noon on December 20th. On Thursday, Parliament passed a draft election law with 85% of Parliament members voting in favor of it. The new law takes effect immediately, replacing the previous one. It took Parliament nearly a year to pass the law due to disagreements between the Democratic Party and the MPP caucuses. But the caucuses decided to hold next year's parliamentary election under a new law and eventually compromised. The new law means 48 Parliament members will be elected from the electoral districts, while 28 will be elected at large, based on the party's proportion to the vote. Therefore, a party or an alliance can nominate a total of 76 candidates. The draft election law says that 26 electoral districts will be established 6 months before the vote. It also says that if an electoral district does not contain the appropriate number of voters, voters from neighboring IMAGs and SOMs could be registered at the electoral district. The draft also says that 1/3 of the members of the government will be Parliament members. Members decided that the Parliament candidates for state organizations must leave their official positions 6 months before the election. Speaker Demirel said that it took Parliament much effort to pass the law. He acknowledged the working groups and standing committees that worked on it. He said the Election General Committee was also helpful, and he emphasized the need to educate the public about the new law. The government declared 2011 the year of employment support and asked businesses to create new jobs for unemployed and increased household incomes. The government originally planned 66,000 new jobs through the program and exceeded their goal. The Ministry of Social Welfare and Labor, the Ulaanbaatar Labor Office, and the National Committee on Employment Support supported the results of the program on Thursday. Officials said 72,000 new jobs and some 45,000 temporary jobs were created this year. About 14,000 permanent jobs were created in small and medium-sized enterprises, mainly due to the government's 100 billion tugrik bond issue. National Committee on Employment Support Secretary General Ganbatar said 122,000 new positions were created, but 40,000 to 50,000 unemployed people are still actively seeking jobs because they have no information about the openings. The government honored some organizations and sectors that actively work to create the jobs in connection with the government program. According to the National Committee of Employment Support, the agriculture and light industry sectors led the way in 2011 by generating 30,000 new jobs, or 42.4% of the total. The sector also financed 1,400 projects for 300 billion tugrik to support small and medium-sized producers. The MCS Group had the most job creations in 2011 with 1,768 new positions. Health mortality among pregnant women has increased recently. Over the last 11 months, the death mortality among newborn babies was about 90, according to statistics. On the 1st of December, a 34-year-old woman died giving birth to her third child in the hospital. The woman went into surgery, but due to insufficient medical treatment, lost her life. The newborn child weighed 4.8 kilograms and is in currently poor health. According to the World Bank last year, Mongolia's infant mortality rate was 26.2 deaths per every 1,000 infants, over 10 times that of Japan, which is 2.4 deaths per 1,000 infants. The main reason for this is poor families not being able to pay hospitals for delivery, since the woman must pay a day in advance. Last year, 25 women lost their lives while giving birth in Mongolia. 20 years ago, Mongolian engineers produced their first trailer. A few years ago, Mongolians made their own trolley buses and started working on the transport sector. By last week, the Mongolian engineers introduced their first bus. On Tuesday, Ulaanbaatar city officials received the first bus designed by Mongolian engineers. The J800 bus was manufactured by Erdu and Mongolian Electric Transportation. After 2 days of testing, it will be licensed for public transportation. The bus has 28 seats. It burns less fuel and emits less pollution than other buses. The Public Transportation Office will determine what routes the new bus will run. Erdu officials said the company will produce 100 to 120 buses annually after its factory is completed in March. The project will bring an additional 150 jobs to Mongolia. Thank you for joining us tonight. See you next week on English News. On behalf of the NTV News team, I'm Danny Wolf saying good evening.